Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast Player One vs. Life is Strange fan podcast. This is episode 117, Side B. I am one of your co-hosts, Adnan and Riaz. My co-host Adam Evalt is here. Adam, you here?
I am here. I'm here for 117, like the Spartan and Halo that's now coming to PlayStation. Did you see that news?
Yeah, I feel sad for Xbox fans and the writings on the wall there.
I think that Xbox is going to become the new Sega.
Yeah,
like there was a point in time where Sega was like saying we're still making hardware, guys, and then all of a sudden, no, not anymore. Now the Gears of War and Halo are coming to PlayStation.
Yep,
it's Sega time, baby.
Xbox
Sega
is just like WCW, and Phil Spencer's like Eric Bischoff, and he's gonna kneel to kneel to Sony as the Vince McMahon. You're gonna see Sony's president going to turn up. And he's going to be like, "I've bought Microsoft." I can't buy Microsoft. But yeah, I agree with you. They'll definitely become third-party service. It's just more easier. They really dropped the ball after that entire Project Natal Connect thing, and it's been never the same. Don Matrick and his legacy is forever ingrained in people's brain. I think PlayStation needs to find its own course, but that's a different story in itself. We've got a lot to talk about here, Adam, because it is our 1 year revisit of Life is Strange Double. Can you let me finish, please? It's our 1 year revisit of Life is Strange Double Exposure, Deck Nine's latest entry in the Life is Strange series. We'll come on to that in a second, actually. Before we start, if you are new here, please do consider dropping subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, like the video, share your friends. StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can check us out on Spotify with a video version, Apple Podcasts. We've got 50 ratings on Spotify, so please do rate us. It helps boost our visibility. We've almost got 340 followers on there, so any support you can give is deeply appreciated. Just a reminder, Side A is out, and we just said that as well as a bit of a restructure in the podcast. You'll see it in the next episode more so than this one. And stick with us as well for the Patreon users. We will be putting out the incentive for October as well, so bear with us for that. And we're just playing a bit of catch up because we've been taking a bit of time, and it's kind of made me a little bit robotic as well doing the podcast because I forgot how to present them. But yeah, we're really back, so we're excited to be back as well. The last episode was interesting, and this one's going to be equally interesting because on the 29th of October, Life is Strange Double Exposure Deck Nine's last entry in the Life is Strange series in 2024 turns 1 year old. And I told Adam to go and play the game, and I told myself to play the game as well, just to revisit it 1 year on. So Adam, I'm going to do devil's advocate here. What are your positives from the game that you take away now?
The positives that people worked on it. They had jobs. I'm glad people were paid, and they are no longer paid because Square Enix decided to off them. I will say on a serious note, though, there is a good game in the dust that is this game. There are fun elements in this game, except that there was such a revolving door, and people were brought on and left, and teams were combined to help finish the game. But the initial gameplay of it, I said it last time we reviewed this game, and playing it again, I say it again. The time manipulation, the
split,
what is it called now? Yeah, the split timeline puzzles. There is good gameplay in that. I always have fun with that, like finding the portal and figuring out which one's the dead world and which one's the live world. I think that's a great puzzle mechanic. I think it's great gameplay, and I don't think there's any bugs when you're switching between worlds. I think that's a feat in of itself in development. So props to you on that. I will say that the design of Caledon, great. I think the design is like very much spot on to like a good vibe. I think it's got the nice snow to it. I think you want to explore that world a little bit more. It's a little bit more fleshed out than True Colors Town.
Haven Springs.
Yeah, Haven Springs. I think it's a little bit more fleshed out. But you know, it's a nice design. The other thing I'll say is that I think I'm trying to go further, but like the gameplay, the puzzles are good. The design of Caledon is good. I think the mystery is good, which I know who shot Safi, by the way. I now know who shot Safi. And it was not Mark Lyons. But I do think that the mystery in of itself had potential. I think we had a lot of potential for this. So I will say the positive I have for this is that if this game stayed on track, if it was not a revolving door, if funding wasn't an issue, like I think like the smaller things, if this was a well managed team, we could have seen a really good game from Double Exposure. I think there were cores of this game, and from what we know in the past, what we've heard from development teams, there could have been a really special game here. But unfortunately, it was mismanaged, and we got this. Like, what are your positive takeaways?
It's like, do you when Keanu Reeves is in the first Matrix and he sees that cat, that black cat, it's like deja vu, and storm the building, or all the building with the SWAT teams. It feels like I'm there again. It's a really, really, it's going to go down in history as What If, amid also its bad reputation, quite aptly of What If as well, considering the first Life is Strange game. I think the soundtrack is very good on reflection.
Yeah.
Listening to it.
I forgot to mention that the soundtrack is really well. I should clarify on that like that's a positive.
Yeah, and I think even amid all the changes, I think it's the one thing that really stands out where it's still very, the score composition and how they do it is very, very good. I think Tessa Rose Jackson's work on that is going to be very much underappreciated and underrated, because even when there's that kind of thing where it's like tonally you want a bit more darker music, the game is a lot more upbeat in places, and the darker stuff comes in later, which I think that maybe they should have added more than just Illusions, for example, and maybe one or more other tracks. But I still think, generally speaking, it's still a very, very solid soundtrack, and it really accompanies some of the key moments within the game. They just need a better sound like management of how they use it, and moments of like silence could have been probably a bit better, and kind of like it was just a bit too much over reliance on some celebrity kind of like cameos. Like, I kind of got my introduction Chloe Morando, who's, I really enjoy that music, and it's like, some of the other ones I'm like, like, really, was that really that over like OTT or the market that you needed? It's like, you don't really need to promote it that much, but no, music's very good. Music is very good.
Yes.
And then like, again, it's a lot of the what ifs like in the game. Like I just don't like, if this game didn't have the canon reputation, if it didn't have all that other stuff, things can work in it. I just don't think this development team had any, I don't have any faith in them to kind of do the story delivery. Because I think even when you said the murder mystery as well, it could have been interesting, but then it kind of becomes diluted and it like loses focus.
I think initially the murder mystery was like, it was there, dude. Like I said, and spoiler alerts ahead of time. Like, I think like that spoiler, it's been a year. You should have played it or not played it, or you don't care enough. When we found Safi's body, but then the flowers were coming in, like where her dead body was, like there could have been something there. Like it fell apart.
Yeah.
Like it would have been so interesting, but it fell apart.
We're meant to be in the positives here. I've literally taken straight. No, I get what you mean though. I think like it's like obviously the marketing again just obliterated all suspense with like the build up for it, because like in itself, and having spoken to when we spoke to Bakker on the podcast as well, the first 3 levels do show good quality in parts. I think the first level and the second one are probably the best in the game, because they're the only ones where there's still a bit of synergy and the product is holding itself together. And in the level design, so I think Caledon University needed to change periods. It's too wintry of a game. It needs to move into different cycles. So it shows the aesthetic of the background. Obviously, it wouldn't surprise me if the snow is covering certain parts of the game to cover up the assets, because they always do that. I think Gears of War did that as well at one point. So I think like it needed to change a little bit in the cycle and give it a bit more lease in life and kind of like a bit more flavor, because otherwise snow is quite heavy. It can be beautiful. Tell me why it's done that. But again, you change back and forth in your environment to kind of give it a bit more of a look. So ultimately, it's not that bad. I think like in itself, I think Caledon being laid out the way it is very difficult to manage and walk around sometimes. It's like it's a bit confusing in places where you're going, because it's like don't you just like walking back and forth. But it's like it's got a good idea of what it's trying to do, where it's making it a bit more open, because it's maybe a university, even though there's only like 8 characters on there. But anyway,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
like the split mechanic's interesting. It does work. And then there's certain things it sets up within it. And there's like 1 or 2 puzzles in it, but they don't put enough puzzles in it. And this is trying to lace it into at least a positive, where it's like there could have been more puzzles and you make it a bit more interactive and you play in that area a little bit. So that's like all quite interesting. But my God,
Yeah, I will say, like, if you're gonna put puzzles in the game, if you're gonna do puzzles, you gotta commit to it.
yeah,
I think that's my biggest complaint of Ghost of Yote right now. There is one puzzle in this game, Ghost of Yote, and they just repeat it, and
Yeah.
it's like the simplest puzzle.
Yeah.
If you don't know, it has to, without spoiling, it has to do with foxes. I'll
Right.
just say that it has to do with foxes. And it's just the most simple puzzle. I'm like, if you're gonna do this, commit, make it a puzzle, and not just like the most obvious like way to solve it. You know?
And they were going to do that because it has it with Abraxas Society, because they have that kind of thing. And I think that was the kind of thing where people like led in the market, where you think that the Abraxas Society will have like a lot of those puzzle blocks kind of like lying around. You can figure things out and do little tasks, but again, did not materialize. So the limitations there. Yeah, I think like those are the very few positives I took away from the experience. And it's more so that it's kind of like watching the first part of the game kind of unfold, but then it falls off a cliff, barring the other things which we'll talk about, obviously the canon decision and how the story's being told and stuff. But it kind of has like cohesion at start thing. I think like the boss sequence is interesting as well, where when Baka talked about it as well, when we spoke to him with like creating the chase sequence, that's a good thing. And it's an interesting sequence as well, how it plays out and how it fits into the game, and it adds that mystery. And it had moments within it which were like, okay, it's interesting. Like, I feel like for me as well, like the aesthetic shot of Max opening the door and then like putting the crowbar down, lifting her head up in the first sequence is really, really, really beautifully done. And it's like that, for example, is like what you want the rest of the game to be like, because it at least fits tonally, it fits right, it has that kind of like little impactful punch. You got the Doc Martens in there, a bit of promotion, but it has those kind of moments with it. But there's that within the game. It's just like moments within it that are okay. It's like, and I can't really like put like just sequences together where they're really like rewarding and enjoying. So it's like you kind of like kill the suspense in certain areas. You kind of like, it sets up like an ante where it's like, oh, this is really interesting, and then it's like bang, and it brings you back to reality. I think like in itself there are very few positives to take away from it. Hannah Tell again is another positive, but that's just Hannah Tell carrying a game on her own. I think fundamentally, I think that's also another thing which makes this a positive, but not for the right reasons. And I say that in a respectful sense, because I think Hannah was unbelievable with her performance, but ultimately she's carrying the game, and it's because that there's a really bad set of characters around her. So it's like all the focus has to be on Max Caulfield, and then she really has to like perform at like like a different level kind of thing.
Well, I will say this, and I said this when we first reviewed it. I think all the actors delivered on what they were told to deliver.
Yeah.
I think we all say like, oh man, the poor acting from Alderman. I'm like,
no.
Yeah, like Alderman, what
Brian? I'm not even with Brian. Brian's like fantastic. Like he did mocap for them from.
That's what I mean, though. Like they said, Brian, you're going to jump right into Max Caulfield's house and you're just going to yell at her for no reason. Go. And that's what Brian did. Like all these actors, they did what they were told to do. Like there is delivery that, hey man, on paper, that's what it said.
Yeah.
And they delivered. I'm even talking about Amanda's actress. Amanda.
Yeah, Samantha.
Yeah, Samantha delivered her lines smoothly.
Yeah.
And with cordiality.
Yeah.
She's very cordial. Cordiality, is that a word?
Let's say
I'm gonna make
harmony.
Yeah, with a lot of harmony behind it. There's a lot of smoothness. I think Samantha is a standout in terms of like the acting in this game, because again, I think her lines were delivered very smoothly, and harmony and cordiality, unlike who I am. But yeah, like there's so much that could have been. I'm telling you right now, after I finish this game, I'm like, there's so much that could have been such an amazing game. And again, what we've known from like talking with other people, this could have been so special, dude. This would have, if everything went to plan,
Yeah.
and not even just like what we know, but like just playing through the game and just seeing what was there as you play along through it. This would have like wiped True Colors off the floor. This could have,
Yeah.
100%. You know?
Yeah, it could have done. It's just all the different micro details that changed within this game and the way you see it. That's what the product you end up with, and it makes no sense. Like, there's the uniform is gone, and it's like even with like Brian's like for him to go to 1 to 100, it's a skill in acting, but it's the context of the character doing it, and then it makes the performance look bad from that. It's the same with Rihanna DeVries, because like my palette has changed a lot on Rihanna DeVries, but it's not Rihanna's fault. It's because they're making Rihanna sound like Ashley Birch in the Chloe Price Life is Strange 1 voice, and it's like that's not helpful for the situation. You're not making the actor, take the role for themselves. You're doing weird sound designs, and like, I think even the Chloe Price lines changed in there as well about Max, like saying the same as the first game. Like, great. But yeah, I it's just that like there's just it's hard. It was just this game. The way it started off was an impossible project, and it just ended up being the impossible project. Like it was just truly, it ended
Yeah.
up the way that it did. And for me, it's weird because I've seen a lot of people think differently of this game, and then other people like saying, "Oh, it's not as bad." And I've seen the online discourse where people like, "It's because it's Chloe's not in the game." That's not an argument. Stop using it. You sound really pathetic saying it, because it means that you can't actually see past the optics of one criticism. It's the same with Last of Us when people were doing Last of Us Part 2, because Joel, no, there's fundamental flaws within that game, fundamental flaws. And it's the same with Double Exposure. It's like this game and the way it's produced, the way it's managed, it was just never going to succeed, and it really hinders a lot of the parts of it. So even the revisionist history I've seen with some people playing it, I don't agree with it. I played it from the Bay side, the BAY one, where Chloe Price is dead, and I'm still like, there's so many like question marks here. Like the for me, and this is just my position as well, with like trauma, for example, that is such a powerful theme. That should be the focus of the game. Like, it's so powerful in itself. You don't actually need to focus on other dabbling things. It's like you start seeing it in certain things in games. It's like, for example, when Sean, has that thing with Daniel, and he even like puts out his hand. And it's like almost like he wants powers. It's like they're living with trauma and these characters. And Max is the definition of a character that is walking trauma, and you need to activate that. And with it as well, because of her experiences, you can activate it within other event sequences. Like, that's the scary part. That's why it's so fascinating for how you do it. But Max's trauma activates when plot device needs it, then we deactivate it. And I'm not going to just use the dark room thing that I've said before, but it's like this game could easily, for example, production wise, could have filled in 25 minutes or something, or 20 minutes with what happens with True Colors, for example, where Alex is talking to her practitioner and she's talking about that during that opening sequence in the game. And it's like, why does Max not have that in intervals in the game? And she has that entire confession sequence with Safi, and that's the kind of like that's probably actually a better moment within chapter 4 when they do that during the table sequence, because actually, like, let's give a bit of character exposition here. But ultimately, we don't get that for the rest of the story, and your character doesn't show any kind of signs of like, I'm living with this experience. Like, look at, for example, Old Man Logan, for example, or Logan, the film. He's like living with everything, the guilt. Like, Logan is like one of the best examples of a character in history that has been like refined for cinema. And the character is laced with trauma. His experiences, obviously Snake, even Marcus Phoenix. The characters live with trauma. Dom from Gears of War 3,
Yes.
Dominic Santiago. I think that was some of the best sequences ever with Maria and the story that they were doing there. The character has to live with trauma, has to embrace it. If, for example, Gears of War 3 was happening and Dom's like, I just like walking around and he doesn't care about Maria, you kind of think that.
After what happened to him in Gears 2, like
Yeah.
near the end, it's like, oh well, that story arc's over. I'm fine now.
Exactly.
Like,
and it sets up for his sequence in the third film, in the third game as well. The way that scene is so emotional, like the way it plays out, and it's like you can see it on his face because it's literally building up to that culmination event. And with Max, it's like, no, we're not going to do that. They just don't build on the trauma experience. I'm like, that's so powerful, man. This game could be written from top to bottom from it, but that's just like one issue within the game. And let's just go into the negatives because it's here as well. Yeah, this game has not aged well at all. I think it's worse. I think I do think some people are finding copium strategies to try and make this game justifiable. I'm trying to keep myself.
Mm,
I'm wondering who goes off first between the two of us, but like I'm
yeah.
genuinely saying here, like it's so poor. It's so poorly developed. Like it is truly a project where some people delivered. Tessa Rose Jackson, the motion capture team, Webb, Corwin, all their development team developed. Otherwise, no. There's just so many
Yeah.
problems within this game. Like you're just sitting there watching it unfold. It's like watching. It is truly watching a ship without a leader. And it's like you kind of sit there
Yeah.
thinking, like, you go back to the IGN piece and you like look at Zach Garris's comments about the writers and the True Colors production, and it just like makes it even more weighted for what's being said there in terms of what happened. And I've seen the production of this game. I'm like looking there thinking, like, oh yeah, are we just changing that? Because in itself as well, when I said to you before, like none of the characters like interesting, they aren't. There's like maybe one or two that stand out, which is like, Gwen, for example, which is like a good character. And kind of like, thankfully, Gwen has her own character dynamic and deals with her own stuff. But like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're trying to make Safi likable. And you're also trying to make her likable in the sense that when she becomes a villain, we empathize with her. And all I can sit there is thinking, Nepo baby, Nepo baby. And this is Adam's voice echoing in the background of my head. And it's like, that's all she is. It's like she's a Nepo baby. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do about this?
Okay, so as somebody who also grew up with trauma, that's why I'm going into tattoo therapy now. What's cheaper, therapy or tattoos? You tell me. Who knows? But there was one specific line that I was just like, I completely missed it. And after this line, I want to tell you also who killed Safi, by the way.
Oh, yes.
So there was like a line where like she goes on top of the hill, like Max is meeting Safi and saying like oh, my mom canceled my book deal and all that. She then says like I think her mom was there when she said this line. Like, yeah, her mom, her mom was there. She goes like Max, can you believe like she kept me from seeing my dad because my dad wasn't good for me. That's so fucked up. Can you believe she did that? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I wish my mom kept me from my dad because there were times that, my dad got tired of me and he had his flavor of the night, let's say, and literally put me into a closet with Transformer toys. And that was where he gave me a flashlight and Transformer toys and he put me in a broom closet while the flavor of the night was there. So I'm like, great. Also, he got high on substances I can't say on YouTube and threw books at the wall because all he saw were bugs on the wall. But yeah, Safi, oh, it's so fucked up because my mommy didn't let me see my daddy. I'm like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you think like that's the worst thing? Like, mommy canceled my book deal. Mommy didn't let me see daddy. Like, the hell are we talking about here? How am I supposed to feel for like this Nepo baby? And I'm not trying to say like I had the worst life ever. I'm just saying like there are many people in the Life Strange community that have been traumatized. I'm sorry to tell you, Life is Strange fan, you right there. That's you. If you're playing Life is Strange, you're traumatized. Sorry to tell you that. But like we've all had trauma in our lives. So for you to try to relate to mommy didn't let me see daddy and book deal said no because mommy said no to the book deal, and then you shoot your mom because she did that, like all these things about complaining about her mom, and I'm like, you shoot her? Like I remember one comment on a previous one said like, yeah, well, it's really hard to get a book deal. I'm not saying that like if a book deal fell through, you would not be sad, but I wouldn't shoot my mom because like she literally shot her mom. In fact, that sequence where she shot her mom, I did both sequences. I reloaded the chapter and I said, what if I did it this way? No, still shoots her mom. And I'm like, what the hell? Freakazoid. Like, I don't understand, man.
I bet the bookies weren't expecting you to go off before me, which is it's like that. Firstly, obviously, with Adam talking about trauma as well, I always encourage people to go and seek help as well, because it's important to talk about those experiences, because I think everyone needs that. In the situation of what you're saying as well, with like the book deal, well, actually, it's funny as well, because like, for example, let's just go in a bit of history as well, like, an extreme example, like Adolf Hitler going off on the route that he did, and he didn't get into Vienna art school, for example. Like, this doesn't justify a man's actions or anything, but like, that was a big event where he wanted to become a painter, and it sets the catalyst of events. But like, a book deal, I think like you could literally just publish something on Kindle, or like, a self-published book. Like, it's not the end of a sparring thing for like for an artist,
and also,
writer.
Also, like, god dang, the elitism, the elitist, like, where the writers of this game, they say like her book was incendiary, and I'm like, okay, like what? And then they kept using the word, it was incendiary, and Max is like, it was incendiary. What was incendiary about it? Like, dog, what are you talking? And then we saw like some of the poems from the book, and I'm like, oh yeah, so incendiary, man. Like, god dang, you're making Nikita Gill look like a kitty cat with this. Like, I can't with this game sometimes, man, with the writing. What are you looking up?
I was just looking at a meme, but I'm gonna have to look at it later. I was listening to because I know it's just like the writing. Oh my, how this game got nominated for a BAFTA. I'm sorry, Adam, I'm gonna interrupt. How this game got nominated for a BAFTA long list baffled me. That's how I can't understand how anyone with a bit of comprehensive like intellect would think that this is good writing. It's some of the worst writing I've ever seen in any product ever. And I'm not even being facetious here. I'm being like properly straight up to the point. Like, there's cringe, as Michelle has always said and like defended. That's nice cringe. This is truly cringe. And it's just like, it's stemmed with it. This is why I can't say it. This is why we're literally sitting here year on. And I'm sitting here, I can't really take much of it, because like the game has to underpin on its story. And it's all over the place. It's a mess. They've reshot things, they've recut things, they did God knows how many things to it. The story loses all sense of purpose. You don't really care about any character outside of Max Caulfield, because they're all one-dimensional and boring. You start the game with Max doing what she's doing, and then by the time you get to the end of the game, she's not achieved anything. You literally have the worst setup for the final decision, i.e. you accept or refuse, and there's no jeopardy to that, because we don't know what happens next. And you set up to a point where the game ends, and the only best part of that game is setting up a potential lifeline to make the next game. And then ironically, you underpin that by making it a ridiculous post-credit sequence and then ruin that, because that was just like unnecessary. So like, ultimately, when you play this game from start to finish, it's just like watching a train wreck go from start to finish. And I'm sitting there thinking like, any good element within this game is lost. And all the hopes and dreams that people pinned onto what they wanted for a Life is Strange game with Max coming back have truly been buried. This game sends a message why nostalgia is not always a good thing. And it showed it when Max Caulfield come back. It's such a horrible feeling to say, but it's so true. Like, it's so hard to tell a Max story post Arcadia Bay, and then you butchered it. And if you're not wondering why we're not going to full depth, there's a 2-hour review on the channel. Go and watch it. It's as real as it gets for emotions. But it's truly, and I still believe this as well, it is a full blown character assassination of Max Caulfield, and on top of that, of Chloe Price, but more so of Max Caulfield. And I will argue it till the end of the day. You only see it differently because Hannah Tell's there for the voice. If Hannah Tell was not there and this was a new actress doing that role, that actress's performance would have been slaughtered by everyone, and that actress probably would have left the industry. And it's just because of how poorly this character is developed. It's the only saving grace this game gets for me, that you brought back the actress who has delivered a redemption arc story when basically she had to re-audition for a character, which is even more ridiculous in this process as well, that actually happened. So it's like, I'm kind of sitting here thinking like, playing the game and then playing it also as well. So this is the first time I played it since I like left it behind, because it's the one that I haven't got any of the trophies, like loads of them, and it's first for you as well. This game has no replay value. It has none.
No.
Because there's no jeopardy.
The choices don't matter.
Exactly.
The choices don't matter. Like straight up, like I said, like the two choices that you were on the top of the cliff. I'm like, maybe one of them gets to stop. Because I did the sequence in a different way. Nope, still shoots her mom.
Yeah.
Still shoots her mom.
It's all
Like
binary.
it's all. Can I also tell you who shot Safi?
Go on.
Your question's going to change to why did this person shoot Safi? It's so now I know for a fact Max shot Safi. Max Caulfield did shoot Safi. Okay, we know that because she's in the photo, and then when you go back into the photo, Safi says you have to do it. It's the sequence. You've done it before, so we know that Max was on the top. And when she was on the top, it was when she rewound into the photo, shot Safi that time. And we know that also because when we get to the 5th episode and you're in the bathroom of the Life is Strange first episode of Blackwell, Max is playing the role of I'm losing names, dude.
Chloe.
Shoot. No. Max is
Nathan.
Nathan, thank you. I'm so good at names, dude. Max is playing Nathan and Safi's playing Chloe in that sequence, right? Okay, so we know now Max shot Safi. The question now lies on why did Max shoot Safi? What is the motive? There is zero motive. I am just like looking through this and I'm just like, okay, I know Max shot her. Now I know that. I've replayed it. I've watched it. I've paid close attention. I'm like, I'm going to figure out who shot Safi. And I'm like, okay, they made it clear that Max did shoot. They did not make it clear why. Why? Because like in the first game when we're talking about why did Nathan shoot Chloe? Because Nathan was unhinged. He was under the influence of drugs. And Chloe was the supplier, right? Chloe supplied some things and also was confronting Nathan about no, wait, was Chloe the supplier? I don't think Chloe supplied.
Via Frank, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah. Frank, I think Chloe introduced Nathan to Frank and then Frank supplied. But then Chloe tried to like get him to like confess and all that. So Nathan was under a lot of pressure. There is motive for that, like for that shot to happen in the bathroom. There was also motive for that boulder to hit Han Solo right in the head. There is motive for the but there was what's the motive? Why did Max shoot? There is no like because that's the thing. Max has nothing to do with the book deal. Max has nothing to do with anything with Caladon. Like Max has no strife against Safi.
Explain something.
We're just like, yeah.
If Max shoots Safi and then Max goes back in the photo and stops the sequence of Safi being shot, how is Safi dead? And who shot Safi then to kill her?
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, it's now like Max did shoot her, but that doesn't explain the rest of the game. You know,
because
like it doesn't explain the sequence.
Yeah, because like in the first Life is Strange, they tap into the idea that during the other Maxes as well, like because there's that sequence in episode 5, Polarized, when there's Max sat at the Two Whales diner, and the one that's obviously your Max as well. And you could argue that there's other Maxes and they have different morals and compasses. But what you're saying as well there is that you're adding a morality complex on Max, for example, shooting Safi. But why would Max do that when Max isn't that kind of person? It's like, for example, her punching Alderman in that sequence. Max wouldn't do that in that kind of way. So it's like you're adding personality and characteristics to a character we haven't seen for a decade. We need to explain that to add things because we can't see that. The audience has to understand why your character's acting in a certain way, why they're different. Hence why the Last Jedi with Luke Skywalker, that's why people are angry about it. Because it's like, you can't just do it, Rian Johnson. You have to explain it because there's a reason you could explain that and it makes sense. But we have to believe it. We have to believe that's why Luke Skywalker's become a hermit. And that's the way it's happened. And, you know, yada, yada, yada. He's done a better job than double exposure. I'm not going to throw shade on him that much. It's a lot better in this sense. But with Max, they don't do that. So, for example, as you're trying to explain that, there's no justification for that. There's no other reason for it, unless it's the tornado. Again, this is where the story's been changed. It's been multiply changed. It's been kept changing. They've
I
changed.
really wish he shot the tornado. I would like pop off a couple shots at the tornado. I think
That tornado, man. That
Game of the
tornado.
year, dude.
The problem is that, again, you can't get rid of it because of what they were doing with it, and it's just that thing.
Yeah.
It has to be central within the story. If, as you said earlier, they were connecting dots, this could have been. Would it have been better than the first Life is Strange? Not a chance in hell, because it's still an impossible task.
It's better than True Colors. It would have thrown True Colors under the water.
Yeah,
it would have. But
it would have been more action oriented, but there's just so many holes. They leave too many holes within the story then, and it becomes like you can't make sense of certain key thematic points that are happening, and then that causes problems with the rest of the story because you're kind of just following along and you're like, what the hell's happening here? So what's going on there? We haven't even talked about Chloe Price, but again, there's a 2-hour podcast. You can check that out because that's a huge issue in itself. Like we can't. That's the thing with double exposure, because you're already going off 2 timelines as well at the end of it, and you pick whichever one you want. Life is Strange's sequel for me as well, if you're building off Max Caulfield, has to be dealt on 2 dynamics, i.e. one, her trauma, and the second with Chloe Price. And technically, trauma bleeds into this one because it does bleed into the Chloe Price situation because they are both visibly traumatized characters, as you see in the Life is Strange 2 photo. They're not smiling.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. It's kind of like it's setting up for the sense of we have to deal with that parameter of an issue. People sometimes overcome trauma, sometimes they don't, and you have to deal with the way you undo the relationship. But ultimately, those are 2 things that are like big elephants in the room, and ultimately they splinter off trauma and try to explain that. And then with Chloe, for example, that's a side issue, and that can't be told off screen. It has to be told on the screen whilst everything else is going on. And even when Aisha Farah's comments, because I went back and watched that clip, even for example in the first events of Life is Strange, where those memories are like, Max's memories go back into her mind. They're not like she's lived them because, I'm trying to, poorly explain this, but because they change the events of the first game, and anyone says like, oh yeah, she didn't actually live those experiences, she has memories of them. I'm sorry, if we want to go down trauma routes of like discussion of therapies as well, the worst part that she has memories of these things she can't talk about. And it's like, that is in itself quite traumatizing because those are the things you'd go through with therapy as well, especially like certain elements of it. It hinges on your memories, especially the earlier ones. Like there's timeline therapies that people do, like counselors, where they try and trigger events that you've forgotten about in the past. But like in the nutshell of conversation, those key thematic points of Chloe Price and Max Caulfield, and then also the trauma, those are the big canon events. But what you do is as well, you splinter off the story, get on trauma, get Chloe Price, you try and position this game as a standalone sequel, which is what Square Enix was doing in all its marketing and saying that. And then you introduce this whole bunch of new characters, Caledon University, Myra Carter, Nepo Baby Safi, Tornado. Can you see where all these things are like starting to fall apart? Because the story in itself is interesting. Just Max, just like, Max could have had her Jodie Holmes story from Beyond Two Souls here, where it's a really character focused piece on her, and you have like one main character, i.e. like Willem Dafoe's character, kind of being there for her. But it's like you don't do that. You create too many plot points. Someone asks for a change, for example, as it's been shown in like online and stuff, and whatever else being documented, and you break the story and you splinter it, and it means there's no way you can fix that. That's now a massive void that's been created, and you can't do it. So it's like you can't insult the audience because as you're trying to explain the Max and Safi situation with the shooting sequence, we've known since a long time, especially with Terminator being one of the staple points of thingy, when you create a time paradox, you need to explain a time paradox, because if anyone watches Terminator or Terminator 2 or those events, they know what the sequence is. They know why John Connor exists. They know why Sarah Connor's there. They know why Kyle Reese is there. What film that is. I love that, by the way. They know why the time paradox exists. There's an explanation for it. And even in the future Terminator entries that they try to explain plot points, saying that, Skynet still went. Fair, because they explain off what's happened. They establish that canon and they go from there. We don't talk about Terminator Dark Fate. That was ridiculous. Talk about killing a film very quickly. That's the explanation. So when you start delving into time paradox and theories and all the other stuff that they did with Deck Nine's team, they didn't think about the oversight, which is that if you knock something, they don't explain it. So it's the same with Alderman. Alderman's then relegated to a side story, which they're trying to explain. It's ridiculous that. Then they try and do it with Max, and they're trying to explain this thing. But they ultimately leave the narrative with the fact that, Safi's dead. and who ultimately killed her.
Yes.
What happened to the other Max? They create a third
Yeah.
timeline with Polaroids, which has nothing to do with the entire game. They're just there and they exist there for that reason. And you kind of just
By
sit
the
there
way, the speaking of the Polaroids, I kind of like, man, when I was playing the last episode, I was just like, you finally get to, I believe, Moses is the first like possessed person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would have never guessed ever. It's like, oh, he's possessed by Safi. Maybe if I take a picture of him and then do a double exposure, I haven't done double exposure in a while, but maybe if I transpose this picture into, maybe that will sound like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Why would you think that? Like, logically, a man is being possessed. Get your Polaroid out because we're going to do some double exposure. I'm like, why? Where did that sequence of events cloud your mind?
It's
What?
because she has that really beautiful shot where she lifts the Polaroid up when she's doing it. So it's a like nice little marketing campaign. And you see her specifically position it up, and then she's
Yeah.
like, and it's like, yeah, that's
Like,
why
this
I
is
had
the
him.
first time we've done double exposure in the game as like a puzzle mechanic that just like it wasn't introduced in any other episodes, but only until the last sequence. Like, oh, perhaps if I double exposure this
Yeah.
because that's the title of the game and we have to market this. What?
It's because they were
Mm.
trying to play around with Max's powers and trying to evolve them to the point where they didn't put rules down. If you write something, you have to put rules and parameters down. I'm not a writer, but one thing that happens is if you write something, you need to have rules and placement. So it's like if we were creating a character now, the StrangeCast superhero, and he had laser vision. Does that laser vision break through walls? Can it break through walls? Can it like impact metal? What can it do? What are the limitations? Even like Superman, Superman has limitations. He has like parameters around his powers, and it's explained.
Mhm.
If you create something, and especially with a story, you have to have parameters on it. So with Max, for example, and the double exposure effect through the camera, that wouldn't surprise me if it was based on like the aperture leak, where it's like, she does that thing for the camera and stuff. It's like, and they just like did it, and then they're like, oh, actually, we can just make it as a knockoff sequence, and we'll just put it as a separate sequel
Yeah.
to that. And they're trying to justify something that happened that we don't have any setup for it. Like you can leave plot mysteries and certain things that are unexplained, but you still have to explain the other wider factors with it. So it's like, even with that Michelle and like Lost Records thing, there are things explained within that. You don't need a full deep dive of what the abyss is. Like that abyss can be explained in future entries, but we know why it is there, why it emerges. There's details to explain the events of it. It's a mystery element, but that falls into the supernatural element. With this game, certain sequences happen, and you kind of sitting there thinking like, hang on a minute, what happened there? And it's like, maybe there was an explanation point there that explained it, but they don't connect it then. So it just happens. So it's like you're following events within the game, and it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Mm.
Oh, okay, that connects, but hang on a minute, what? And you kind of like constantly
Yeah.
doing it. And it's like, and it's just that you can just tell the way that they were doing the game. And it's like that entire Square Enix murder mystery elements, like who shot Safi, and it's like, why are you focusing on this too much? But again, it's the selling point. They're selling it like Cluedo. They're selling the game as that as a premise rather than it actually just being Max's story back and you telling a character-centric piece. Yeah, it's just I'm doing a very, very like docile review right now because like Jesus Christ, playing this game as well, that was traumatizing for me. Because it's like just watching a full-blown, very poorly executed game and people actually thinking this game was good, which is some people still do as well. Like even from the development team, it was like a hodgepodge mess that has burnt the series. This is truly like third degree burns in the series, if not worse. I think like you've put your series and IP in. This is the same level, and that bigger example. But this is the same level as Game of Thrones IP damage branding. Like that last season of Game of Thrones has never ever ever recovered from that. Even with the House of Dragons series, I don't even see people talking about that anywhere near as much as it could have done. If they hadn't burnt the bridges that they did at that last season, that franchise would still be big, and this one isn't.
Yeah.
And like this, for example, this has put that series like literally right in the gutter at the moment. I don't know what you can say about double exposure. It's a like Jesus Christ, just watching this, like spending like the last 2 years or something learning about this game behind the scenes and just talking to people across God knows how many parts of this division. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. It's just when people say to you, it's like, why is it happening? I'm like, I don't know. It defies logic. Like in the logical sense, when people are like, why don't you bring Chloe back? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you bring her back? I'm like, that it makes sense to me. I'm like, that makes sense, but that's not what happens. Yeah, big problems in the game. I was just playing. I was like, this is tragic. It's tragic what playing the game again. Like in a nutshell form, I found it very tragic playing it 1 year on, because I was like, this game. Oh boy, and I feel sorry for a lot of the devs, because a lot of very talented developers worked on this, and a lot of ego trips happen on this game as well, and a lot of other things, bureaucracy, red tape, all kinds of other things that you've seen that have all unfolded and stuck in a development hell, and that's the problem you get. And I also as well, and I'll put this as well, a lot of the blame as well, like if it's not outside those people who are doing the animation stuff, a lot of the blame is pinned on that development team as well. Stauder, Felice, I'm still talking about Felice, but Felice, Stauder, Mallory Littleton, Blau, Deandra, like these people like thought this was good in that shell, and I'm like, come on. And especially with Elizabeth Blau, like I'm like, come on, like you're lolling that you didn't get someone collect your award. I think it kind of is a sign. I know they went and collected it later that night, but I'm like, I wouldn't collect that. It'd be like that sequence when Homer gives an Emmy to the person for a tip. And it's like, oh, it's an Emmy, and he just throws it off the balcony. Or is it a Grammy? It's a Grammy, I think it is. It's like, come on. Yeah, very poor writing.
What a mess.
Oh, what a mess. What a mess.
What a mess.
I just
What
can't.
a mess. That's all. It's a mess that could have been amazing. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah. The right pieces, the right things, you could have made something. That wouldn't have blown away the first game. The first game's still the benchmark, because the first game that's haunting everyone at this point as well. But I think it would have been a solid entry. I think I agree with you as well. I think it could have been True Colors, but it fundamentally hinges on every aspect has to be perfect in that to do it, because you're basically you're with True Colors, you have that advantage. It's Alex Chen, it's a new story, yada yada yada. But this was, we bring back the beloved character, and we are continuing from the events of that last game. That's why the expectations and everything are tenfold. And to do an amazing game, it has to be perfect across so many different elements. And they barely nailed a couple of them, which is like such a shame. So, I think this could go on for about 5 hours, but I think, like, as we said, there is a podcast episode that is now emotional and very reactive. And I think you watch that still sums up a lot of my feelings. I haven't changed my feelings, and this is not a revisionist podcast, because the macro positives that I find in this game are just so entrenched in everything else that's happened. And you kind of sit there thinking, like, why? Like, you take away one or two of the other good things from this game, and it just bombs. And I'm still holding. I think Hannah Tell gives this game a better reception than it should have done, because I think she's really freaking carrying this game in ways that, where for me, for example, the fact that she was snubbed for a BAFTA baffles me, because it's like, that was just truly where, when you watch something, you're like, oh, actually that person saved it. It's like when my guilty pleasure forever, but it's like Raul Julia in Street Fighter the movie. Phenomenal. Like, that was his last performance. He did it because his kids loved the film, and he really wanted, and he acted in that when he was ill. And it's a really cheesy bad film, but a good bad film. And not even Jean-Claude Van Damme saved it, in the sense of that it's more about Raul Julia playing the perfect M. Bison, and it's like, that's the gold standard. And you'd think, like, hang on a minute, Street Fighter the film's terrible. No, Raul Julia has like just nailed that. And it's, I think you take Raul Julia away from it, that film goes even further down. It's like he just adds that comic effect and stuff. And same with Hannah, she adds Max's flavor, and it's like whatever the remnants of that are. So I think, very strange. So life is strange, isn't it? So Adam, let's quickly plug this in before we move on from this. Let's end on a higher note, because we'll go over on the positives quickly. For anyone who isn't aware, and I'm putting this on Instagram. Oh, there it is. Oh, we're on a small screen. Hang on a minute. Pull this up here. There you go. As you can see, that the lovely Tessa Rose Jackson has announced her tour in the UK. Lighthouse Tour 2026. So she's put there as well. Tour announcement. I'm so excited to announce that we'll be hitting the road again throughout March next year. This will be my first headline tour in 2 years, bringing my knapsack of new songs and spilling them at your doorstep. Touring is one of the happiest times for me, coming together in the physical spaces with my bandmates and a kind of audience, and sharing music is so powerful and life affirming in these strange times. And tickets are on sale from October 24th. link in bio. In the meantime, drop me a comment with your with where you're planning to attend and what song you would absolutely love to hear us play, so I can start preparing. So as you can see there, Brighton, London, Bristol, Manchester, Tynemouth, Edinburgh, Paris, Amsterdam, Berlin, Hamburg, and also Cologne. And you can see there's the poster as well for Tessa Rose Jackson. She's got a new music coming out as well. I think her album's dropping in 2026. So very, very exciting to see her go on tour.
Nice.
Yeah. So very excited. So we'll end on a higher note for double exposure. One of the very much more positives, and she deserves every ounce of like thing she gets from that. So yeah, perfect. So Adam, should we go into comment on the podcast now?
Yes, I am excited for this one. Yeah.
So we've been a while since we've done our other one, so we had to catch up with it. So this is from @Mind Your Own Business from episode 116 side B. And it says, I should have done side A, but we'll go side B first. At this point, the franchise is in hot water, and all I can do is watch. It's like a train wreck. You can't look away. Also, the collection case is hella ugly. I'm too broke and an ugly case, and half the games only being on codes. End quote.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get it, because I'm like, I'm already in like financial like ruin at this point because I went to college. But I was just like, $60 isn't bad for all the games, but it's just like you're paying $60 for an ugly case, and what Mind Your Own Business just said, half the games being on codes. Like it's not even a collection at that point.
Yeah.
It's just like you're buying a digital version of this game. It's
I still
don't know.
It's just, that. There's so many people I've seen saying that, is this a thing? It's like literally one social media post, and you've got an already an established audience. All it just takes is someone to retweet in the path and, oh, look at that, there's a sale. Like, genius marketing for that. You're right though. Everything said. I mean, mind your own business. Well, you mind your own business. I think what you've said there sums up a lot of it's hard because it's like you have to like look at even StrangeCast. Like a couple of years ago when we did the True Colors thing, we were like here. It was like here. Yeah. I even apologized to you as well, very private. I was like, I'm sorry, Adam. Like Adam was here on the Euphoria. He was riding the True Colors wave. Man, I was like, yeah, okay, it's cool. Played it a bit safe, but I'm still open-minded. And we're here. We are here now. That's what we are. Me and Adam here, and also a lot of other people here. We are literally watching a franchise on life support, and the plug is about to be pulled out, or is someone's kicking at it at this point to take it out. It's just a shame. And yeah, the Life is Strange collection is not worth it. The investment's not there. Like, and on top of that as well, with it being digital and the code's not being. Oh God, I hate this industry so much. It's like, what happened to video games? What happened to video games?
Exactly. Yeah. And now we're getting Halo 1 on PlayStation, so that's great. Which is my least favorite Halo is Halo Combat Evolved. And that's even going off of Halo 4. Actually, yeah. Okay, yeah, Halo 1 goes up between like Halo 5, of course, but like shout out to my Halo 5 poster right there. Yeah, it's just weird. Video games industry is weird right now. It's weird. We're going through a reset right now, and it's just weird. It's a weird time.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's a weird one. I think Halo 1's are probably just testing the waters at this point. They will definitely like start pumping them out in a longer run of sequences. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. And I've got another comment as well here. Alex is on here. So it's at Dream Prism from episode 116, side A. What do Taylor Swift and Life is Strange have in common? Selling extra collections of the same stuff to make more money.
Yeah. Bow.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, for real though, it's just man, it's again, it's being sold as a product. They do not care about the culture of it. They just care about the sales, the product. Like they're just that's all they care about. And just
you have to be careful with it though, because like for example, I know like people have it with WWE at the minute and with TKO, they've charged the prices up like massively on events. And I've always said this as well, billionaire Vince McMahon didn't even think about that because he still wanted to stay as like a working class rooted sport where the tickets are affordable. Because what you do as well with that incentive is that you get someone to pay for it. They're going to spend a ton of money coming into the event because they're going to spend it on merchandise and stuff. If you ticket people out of it already, that also means that you eliminate the magic behind something. And it also means that people aren't going to get as invested in something. So it's like even with Life is Strange collection now, Life is Strange collection in 2015, every little bit of merchandise was invaluable because it had that kind of like, we're going to milk it, Square Enix, but we're milking it in a respectful way because we know you want products. Now it's like, let's just put a conveyor belt out. And there's nothing worse when it's a conveyor belt of music. It's like a last album during the Tortured Poets Society. It's like, it's a conveyor belt of tracks. Like, really? It's like, this is where we need an editor to kind of get things. You need to kind of manage things in a bit more of a streamlined approach. And I think this is the problem with Life is Strange. They basically just conveyor belt everything. It's like, oh yeah, here's Welcome to Caledon book. It's like, who wants this? It's like, no, we'll just do it because it's an iconic location. I think like you can think like, oh, Haven Springs would do better. It's like, no. What, Life is Strange 2? No, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. Yeah, you need to keep things special. You need to keep them special. And it's like if you do a vinyl, for example, and cast a garden, you don't want to do 6 versions of it. You want to do 1, and it means it's special because if you own it, you own it. Or you do 2 variations if you want. You don't do 6 because it's like it kills the value of it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's just shame.
Yeah,
shame.
Yeah, big shame as well. Alex, Olivia Laporte is not going to like you for that comment, but anyway, we'll leave it at that. So, Adam, Spread the Spooky Arts was going to come in here, but you're not being spooky.
Yes.
So I'm still going to call it the Spread the Spooky Arts, but what are you spreading?
Yeah. So I was reading the Ring. I have not finished yet. Things have gotten, a little haywire in work schedule, so I just haven't been able to finish it. I will say though, The Ring, the book is way different than the movie. Way different. In the same way that The Shining is way more different than the movie.
Yeah.
Way more different. So I will say on another movie that I think held up. It holds up really well. It's a 2001 film by the name of The Others. So,
I think I've seen that. Why does it sound familiar?
Yes. Yeah. So if you
I've seen it. I've seen this. Oh, yes.
Yes. Do you remember?
Yes.
So, funnily enough, I was like, all this like not like not well-known actors, right? But then you have Nicole Kidman on top of everything else. And like my wife, this is the first time like Liz is watching this movie. And I was just like, yep, Nicole Kidman, one of Tom Cruise's wives. And then I just see executive produced by Tom Cruise. so Tom Cruise is one of the producers. It's like, Nicole, my wife, main star. That's what's gonna happen. I was like, that's funny. I didn't realize that when I first saw it. But yeah, if you haven't seen this, it's one of those movies that it is not necessarily scary, but it's definitely that horror season vibe, that like thriller season. I'm not going to say too much about the film. I think you should go into this movie cold. I think you should definitely go into it with expectations that, hey, it's spooky vibes. That's all it is. And I watched it, and man, it holds up. It holds up so hard, man. It's such a good movie. So like, if you find a way to see this, I have it on DVD, but you can watch it on
like a psychological horror, if you're wondering as well. I'd watch it without watching the trailer. I'd just go in very cold turkey.
I would. Yeah, I don't know where you can watch it via streaming. I mean, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. I'm sure. Yeah, it looks like you can just
online.
Yeah. So yeah, like if you find it in a DVD store, like a thrift shop, go get it or just rent it. I honestly, man, The Others, it holds up, dude. You should definitely go see this movie. Spooky vibes. Let's go.
Spooky vibes. Yeah, I would recommend it. I think it's it was a very good psychological horror film. It was like enjoyable. So definitely worth it. You can get it like £2 on DVD. £2, like how many dollars?
£2. £2 and 27 ounces.
Jesus Christ. Yes, so very good pick. I actually watched Scream because I was on the BBC website just messing around. So I scrolled down, they had them on iPlayer. So I was like, yeah, screw it. I'll stick it on and watch it. Classic. I miss Wes Craven. The world went very dark place without him. No, it's just great. It's just, I watched the first 3 and then I watched 4 and then I stopped because I don't regard anything after that because
4 is like you're on the threshold of bad territory there.
I give it because it's Wes Craven and it's like, I'm going to keep it with that. So it's like, I'm going to recognize and appreciate it for it. It's like, for me, it's like with like Nightmare and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. They're great, both of them. But it's like, because Wes Craven's name's attached to that fourth one. I'm like, we didn't need this. This was in the nostalgia area, which we're still in, which is like, let's bring back everything and just make a sequel to it. And it's like, as you said, I think it just holds itself a little bit. And I'm like, okay, what's happened since then? Ridiculous. I hate it. It's all ridiculous. But the first 3 Scream films are excellent. And I think 2 is really underrated for how good it is, actually. And I think 3 is actually better than the reception some people give it, because it has a lot of comic effect with it, and I think people don't like that. But I think it actually is a very good story and what it's actually telling as well. And I think it's very relevant in some of the themes that it's hitting on. Like, Jesus Christ, this was before Harvey Weinstein as well. It was like, all that stuff that was happening. So it's like,
which he was an executive producer on Scream 3. Did you notice that?
God, yeah, he was everything, wasn't he? I watched Christoph Waltz's speech
Scream
for
3. It was executive produced by Harvey Weinstein, which is like, holy shit, dude. The irony. Horrible irony. I'm not trying to say like, wow, what a funny situation. But it's just like, God dang it, dude.
Yeah. It's like with I watched Christoph Waltz's speech with like Inglorious and Django, and one of them he mentions Harvey Weinstein, cuts the camera to him. It's like, yeah, we're not talking about that anymore. Like that's another quick secret that Hollywood's just burying up. It's like, let's get this buried, shovels out, keep it hidden. No, it was very good watching it. I've got a lot of, I always stick on my spooky films when I can leading up to Halloween, because it's like the one holiday I actually celebrate. And yeah, I watched that, and then I played Double Exposure afterwards for the full after effect of horror. So
real spooky game.
Yeah, I think I was already traumatized from the horror of that game, so I was like, right, okay, we'll just stick Scream on for a bit more comic relief. But no, fantastic film, and enjoyable. And I think I watched it as well because I was watching Scary Movie too, because I keep sending you TikToks about that. Take my hand. And also, can I just say as well, films will never be the same, because I think, for example, that film, and it's catching on with cultural relevance now with TikTok as well, that Nike spoof that they do during that film is outstanding, and it's like so underappreciated for
They'll never make something like that again, dude.
No, but
that was just a
it's just that sequence is so funny. Yeah, it's a time capsule, and the sequence is so funny, like that they'd shot something like that and parried it, because that was the peak millennial trend, when you parried something that was in popular culture, and obviously Family Guy and stuff like that did it, but it was it hit the point home. And also, Anna Faris is one of the funniest human beings on the planet. Like, I remember watching some clips as well, and I think is it the Whalen brothers that do that Scary Movie?
Yes.
Like, because they wanted a really unknown actress, and then she like didn't even think she was going to get it, and like the process to get it was amazing. And her and Brenda's actor are just the 2 characters are just unbelievable. I think it might have been that, but I always send Adam TikToks with it, and like it's like, take my hand. It's a little white guy with a little hand. It's like, why don't you give me a standing ovation? that sequence, by the way, that film, actually, Tim Curry, if you watch him as well, he is trying every bit not to laugh. I wonder how many times it must have taken them to do that sequence. You can see it on his face. He's smiling for the entire thing. He must have been weighing himself during those like jokes. It's like,
oh God,
delivery spot on. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up here because we talked a lot. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm not going to forget this time, because Adam reminded me last time. So big shout out to our Patreon users. So Kevin Lackner, Sundy, Clare McLoughlin, Jake Churchill, Carly, Gordberry, Kevin Kestis, Clarx, MrAnselmi, Spunger, and The Lost Fan. So thank you so much for the Patreon support. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, we are fully back now. So thank you so much for patience. It's kind of nice to be back as well, to do the podcast and whatnot. Yeah, let us know what you think about Double Exposure. It'd be funny to look in the comments. I was dread about that. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Have you played it again since? I'd be interested to hear that one first. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, please let me know in the comments, why did Max shoot Sophie? Please let me know. Why did she shoot Sophie?
Also, there's definitely one comment from this podcast getting picked out for the next one, so you have plenty of room to pick out a nice comment for you to put in there. So yeah, let us know what you think about the product and whatnot. And yeah, we'll sign off here. So obviously stay tuned. Ruth Radley's interview should be out, because I'm going to hopefully put it out the day we're recording on the 25th. And obviously Sam Bradley's interview on Lost Records Journal is going to come up. So very excited to drop that. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. If you are, I'm still getting used to this again. If you are new here, please do drop a subscribe on the channel, turn on notifications, like the video, share with your friends. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can check us out on Spotify with the video version, Apple Podcasts. Go and check us out there, go and rate us, go and download us, because you get instant access to your podcast episodes as soon as they're available. I feel really robotic doing this. It's so weird. We've literally done this for like every week almost for like multiple years, barring I think situations that have happened in between it. But like, I think we've been in a routine for the last like year where I've just completely like it's kind of shook me a little bit. This, but yeah, it's nice to be back. Stay tuned. I think StrangeCast will be back next week, so we'll go from there. Take care, guys. See you later. Bye.
Later.
Ready for the mosh pit, shaka bra.